I'm Chris Williams with the Office of Standards Assessment and Accountability, and today I'm going to be talking to you about K-Screen and how K-Screen is going to be it's a new part this year of our Student Data Review and Roster application, which is SDRR. Let's begin. Now, with K-Screen, people say, Chris, what is the K-Screen? K-Screen is our kindergarten screener. It is not an assessment, it is a screener. It is for our kindergarten students, and it is brought to us by Bergantz. Bergantz provides us this particular screener. It is a quick and accurate quick screen of what the child's development in 5 areas. And those 5 areas are cognitive or general knowledge, language communication, physical well-being, self-help skills, and then also our last one, which is social emotional skills. Now, how is all of this going to be playing into SDRR? Well, let's talk about that. The first thing is, like I said, it is a new process in SDRR. Another thing is, when is it going to open? Well, it's going to open August 19th. It'll open August 19th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then it will close on October 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, what are you going to do with K-Screen in SDRR? Well, it will be initially blank when you look at your student listings. And then if you need to file a non-participation for one of your kindergarten students on the Bergantz K-Screen, then what you're going to have to do is you will have to add the students to the student listing. And we'll talk about that process and how we're going to add that student, and you'll see some of the screenshots of how to do this in SDRR. What you're going to have to do also is that when you put in that particular non-participation for that student and have added that student, you're going to have to upload a scanned copy of that non-participation form in SDRR. And so for some of you for K-Screen, that may be a new process because you haven't been working with SDRR before. So like I said, there will be plenty of screenshots to assist you with this, so let's begin. First thing you do when you get into SDRR is you're first going to go to the URL. Once you get to the URL that's on the screen, then it's going to take you to what we call the home page. You have a login page to get you to put your username and password in, and then once you put your username and password in, then it's going to take you to the next screen, which is the welcome or home page. Now, what if I don't have, access to the K-Screen? How do I do that? Well, you'll have to talk to your WAPOC, which we call that our Web Applications Administrative Point of Contact in your district, which is your district technology person. And if you don't know who that person is, ask someone in your district. And also, if they don't know, then you can also look on the KDE website and you can search for WAPOC, and it will tell you who the WAPOCs are for every district. Now, when you get into SDRR, like I said, get your username and password. Then you're going to go to the next screen. On that next screen, it's going to show you the latest announcements. It'll also tell you what's open. And like I said, for this presentation, we're going to be talking about the K-Screen. And it will show, you'll see that is part of the new version of SDRR, version 2. And you'll see some interesting things it'll be able to do. Now with this, you'll notice when you look at K-Screen, it'll be in green, it'll say it's open. It'll also have your student listings, your ticket listings, and downloads. Now, you're not going to have too much, into K-Screen because, like I said, the only things you're going to be able to do is if you've got to file a non-participation for a student who is not going to be participating in the K-Screen, then you would have to file that non-participation. And before you can do that in SDRR, you have to add the student to the roster because, like I said, it's going to be blank when you get into it. Now, if you want to jump down to your student listing, you can either click on the student listing that's within the box here underneath K-Screen, Or you can click on that and it'll take you straight down to the next part, which is straight to your case screen like you normally did. And this is going to have the task. It'll have what you're going to do for case screen, and you'll notice that that box is very small compared to what it normally is for our SDRR task. Now, do you have to do this, the SDRR task? No, it is optional, but it does allow you to know, well, what am I supposed to do? You know, if I'm a new person or I've never done this before, you know, maybe I'm new to the district, or I maybe, you know, forgotten some things, you know, about SDRR. So this is kind of just like a little checklist. It'll help you go through each part of what you're supposed to be doing for this particular part of SDRR. Another thing is it'll have the quick links. It'll take you straight into case screen. You can click on that. It'll move you right on into it. Also, you can download if you had to make any changes, such as adding a student and filing that non-participation of either medical or extraordinary circumstance. Then you will see that on the screen here in just a few minutes. And also, when you're going in and you add those, if you have to, you know, file a non-participation for a student because they can't participate in the case screen, then what you're going to do is once you go in and file that, you know, and upload it into SDRR, and remember, you don't have to type all that information in because you're going to be uploading. Now, we do like some additional, if there's some additional information, educational information about the student that may not be on that form, then you can add that into the little text box for you, but you don't have to if there's nothing else that you have to add to it. Now, another thing is that those two, medical non-participation and extraordinary circumstance, always has to be approved. And that has to be approved by our staff here in the Office of Standards Assessment and Accountability. And usually Jill Derbyshire is our guru when it comes to SDRR, and she'll be one who'll be working with those tickets. And then she also has a new colleague that will be helping her, and that's Nathan Rome. Nathan will also be working on SDRR this year, assisting Jill as well as other staff in our office. So make sure you contact them. They'll be more than glad to work with you on these particular things as well. If you have any additional questions after you've watched the video for today. Let's talk about what that's going to look like. Well, when you're going to go into SDRR, this is what the screen's going to look like. It's going to be blank for you for your student listings because it's not going to have any students already pre-populated in there like we normally do for rosters or for data review. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go in there. If you've got to file a non-participation, remember, of a medical or extraordinary, then you will add the students in there. And you know, you'll see some of the new things for case screen up at the top. You'll see where you'll be able to filter by things like you did before, but it's all located in one place for you now. It's kind of streamlined. Also, you'll see some of the different things, the screen. Like I said, you'll be able to see, some of your students, and once you add them in there, if you've got to file a non-participation, you'll be able to see them on this particular screen. Now, how are we going to add those students so that way they're not blank anymore? And that, remember what I said, only if you need a non-participation. So, if you need a medical or extraordinary, here's the first step you're going to do. You're going to go into that student listing. You're going to go in and you're going to go up to the top, and it says add a student. You're going to go click on that. It'll ask you to put in the SSID number of the student. Then the next step, it'll say, and then you'll put that in and submit it. And what it'll do is once you put in the SSID and submit it, it's going to search for that particular student in Infinite Campus, because that's where everything goes back to, is Infinite Campus. And so then the next step, what it's going to do on the screen, it's going to also take you to, it'll say to which roster, do you need to add the student to, which test type. Well, you're going to put them in, you're going to check that case screen box. Then the next one, is the student going to be taking the assessment? If they're going to be, if they took, the case screen, of course, it would say yes, but, for this particular reason, they're not, if you're filing a non-participation, they're not going to be taking the assessment. And then it'll ask you to file the non-participation. What participation status are you filing for the student? Are you doing a medical or an extraordinary? Then once you do that, then you'll be able to, guess what? You remember that paper copy that you're supposed to already have filled out for the student for a medical or extraordinary before you get to SDRR? Then once you get that form off of our KDE website on our forms page, then you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to you have it all filled out. For medical, you have to have some of those things filled out by the doctor, get the doctor's signature if possible. And then for extraordinary circumstance, it's just what are the details, that is making this something other than a medical. It's one of those situations that, can't be helped. Some situations for extraordinary could be, the student, may have, even in kindergarten, we do have kids who are ill and may be going through chemo at that point. Well, we don't want, kids to have to go through that as well, through that screener, as well as, put the parents through that as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that copy that you have and you're going to upload that, because you're going to scan it in, upload it, choose the file that you're going to be putting that under, and then, like I said, if you look at step number 8, that's for additional information from you at the school level. If you've got anything else that you want to add to those particular non-participations, you can do that. And then last step is you're going to upload it, choose your testing school. If you're at that particular school, if you're a BAC, you're only going to see your particular school to be able to upload. If you're DAC, you'll be able to see all the schools there and be able to do this as well. And then the last step, guess what? Update it. Make sure that you do that. That way it gets uploaded to us. We will have the form on file and be able to go through this with you, and then be able to, guess what? Go through and approve whether, you get that medical non-participation or extraordinary circumstance. And that's pretty much it, for SDRR, because once you do that and it's approved, it will show you on the student listing that it's either MED for medical or EC for extraordinary. And if it's not approved yet, it'll say in progress. And then once it is approved, you're done. And you're probably saying, Chris, where can I find some wonderful resources for you for SDRR? Well, you know that I Need Help button that's on all of the screens once you log into SDRR? That big red I Need Help button? That is going to be a valuable tool for you through everything this year for SDRR. So make sure you use it. When you click on that, you can see that our arrow is pointing to the case screen, and you can click on case screen, and guess what? It'll give you a lot more information too to help you with your work on case screen. Some other resources for you. We always have different additional things to help you with SDRR about how to add a student and things like that. We do have screencasts that will help walk you through that. We do have this recorded training that on case screen that will assist you. We have the help button Also, your district technology person, your WAPOC, will be the one who gives you access to SDRR, not the Office of Standards Assessment and Accountability. We can't grant you that, only your WAPOC in your district. And then, of course, there are other things that you will see throughout SDRR that will help you when you get to other parts of SDRR, especially with accountability when it comes to data review and other things. So, here is another resource for you. Here's the K-Screen page on the KDE website that shows you some valuable information on the K-Screen. It has it gives you a little bit of background about the K-Screen. Remember, it is a screener, not an assessment. And it's just screening what the students, what the kindergarten students know when they first come into school. Another thing is to help with the K-Screen and know about trainings and resources. They have lots of implementation guides to help you. There's also trainings that you have to have for the K-Screen to be able to administer it. There are also forms that you will need when you're doing the K-Screen. And then also every year there's also K-Screen updates, the kindergarten screen data that is available to you, and then also it talks about pilot year data in open house. So this is another resource for you besides SDRR that'll help you with K-Screen. This concludes our presentation on K-Screen. We did have Lori Devers who would be working with K-Screen, but today is her last day, so she will not be able to work with K-Screen with you. She is moving on to another school system. So you can contact the Office of Standards Assessment and Accountability, and we would be more than glad to one of the consultants to be helping you with K-Screen, and then also assisting you with SDRR as well, and any of our folks in the Office of Standards Assessment. So I want to thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for all you do for our kindergarten students.